This is the joint meeting of the Townsend Housing Authority and Townsend Affordable Housing Trust meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. May I have a roll call of officers? Roll call of officers, please. I'm sorry.
Courtney Briley, present.
Jack Moran, present.
Now the call present.
Jess Sexton, present.
No, we're not.
Oh,
That's
just
everything.
housing.
This is
Yeah.
housing.
Jess Sexton, Duranium, present.
All right. The meeting is being recorded. Can we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank all service members and their families for supporting us on deployment and in the United States.
You're here.
Any deletions, additions, within 48 hours of meeting? Jazz.
I don't have anything.
All right.
All right, can I open the,
Yes, you can.
okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
David Warren, present.
Cindy Bowden, present.
Beverly Napier, present.
Jess Sexton, Duranium, present.
And Veronica Cal, present. Okay, thank you all. We've already announced that the meeting is being recorded, et cetera, et cetera. And the only addition I have is that I'm going to be asking for a vote from the Affordable Housing Trust during the update 2.2.
2.2.
Yeah. This wasn't, known until yesterday.
Do we have any updates for Townsend Housing Authority review of the HPP tracking sheet?
So as far as tracking, we don't really have very much in terms of updates from last time we talked, just because it's fairly short. But I don't know if anybody in particular has any thoughts from last time, or if you have any updates on anything on this list.
It has to be from this list.
No, you can do any update otherwise, right?
Otherwise,
Yeah.
So we did contact CHAPA regarding a property that we were notified is part of the inventory of affordable housing in the community. We'll let them know that we do not have the proceeds at the time to purchase it ourselves, but that we would be interested in participating to help market the property. This morning, I actually received an email from CHAPA with the advertisement. I think I'm not sure if it was emailed. Did you get that, Allison?
I did not.
Actually, it sent it to, her name's escaping me.
Jody?
Jody. Okay. Jody's probably on vacation or out of the office.
I thought that Jody was no longer
Yeah.
working with the housing
Yeah, it's just
authority.
Allison now.
Oh, okay.
Can you forward it to
Yeah,
Allison?
yeah, I'd be happy to send it to,
And
That would
Allison,
be great.
thank you for letting me know.
if you could, we need to forward that to, Harrison.
Okay,
He's the webmaster for the town, to see if we can get that posted on the town website.
I will connect with Harrison and get it posted.
And if there are any objections, I can circulate it with some contacts I have.
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yep.
So can I just ask, what is the amount that the town would need to purchase the property? This is more for future reference, because it would be good to keep
Yeah.
these things on the list.
I think we had a number, didn't we?
Yeah,
We
I
have-
believe it's like 240,000.
40,000,
In that
yeah.
range,
So
there's a
it was
condominium
back
as well,
taxes.
which I'm
Right.
not sure how that complicates things.
Yeah.
So this is a good reason for having not only the Community Preservation Act, should that ever pass, but inclusionary zoning.
Yeah.
So that developers or anyone that's building a house in town, more than a single family, would be able to put funds into the housing trust, so that should properties like this come available and nobody is purchasing it, that we, the town, could do that.
Correct. And this is why I think it's important for us to always be talking to one another, because I see that the Affordable Housing Trust is the financial arm of a lot of possibilities here in town.
It is. It's why the town needs to fund it if it's gonna be successful. Because we only have the ARPA funding. We don't have enough for that, the 100K.
Yeah.
And that's.
Well, for me, it's frustrating because I think this is the third one out there that has gone up for sale, two of which did not have any buyers for the affordable.
Right.
I am kind of surprised at that, but then they went to market rate. And the town should have gotten funds, which I think the town did get the funds, that when something like that sells, it has to, any additional funds goes back to the town. And it went into the town's general fund because we didn't
That
have.
is where it would go.
Yeah.
But then we should track that and at town meeting, have a warrant article to transfer those funds into the housing trust.
My thought is something that both boards have to work on, is that we have something that the town votes on so that it automatically will. If it's an affordable unit that goes up and the money's come, it
That,
automatically
we could
will
write the
go.
warrant article that way.
That's
That would
what
be
I'm
good.
thinking.
The other thing on that is I'm curious as to where these properties are being marketed. Because I find it unusual that there wouldn't be
Yeah.
anyone in town
Mhm.
who would be able to bid on an affordable unit and have the requirements that they would need. I just find that unbelievable, and I don't know where they're being marketed.
So this
It's,
is, go
I actually
ahead.
have it in front of me. It said, My Mass Housing, which that's the venue where the listings are placed by CHAPA.
What's
So
it called?
how do
My Mass Housing.
people,
Oh, okay.
how do people in town who might be interested in, they're living in an apartment or whatever, living with their parents, or other relatives, and are interested in purchasing a unit, how do they know to look there? This needs to be on our website, the town website.
Right, and that's why I
I
think
think
this
that's
is,
the-
this is why we
reason.
wanted to make sure that we check the sources and then get it out there, because our efforts as the housing authority, we feel that it needs to get out to the community.
Yeah,
I think we
don't
were having a
they
hard
are.
time on the last ones. They weren't even getting to us that like some of them were available.
Yeah.
So I think this is also like the first one that is coming to us this way. So that's why we said we would like to participate in and see the marketing rights so that we have the
Can I ask a
availability
dumb
to.
question? Why can a realtor handle the sale?
Yes,
Yes.
and the realtor is handling the sale. But what happens,
Which realtors? I'm just curious, is it a local realtor?
that I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I mean, because that would be the best way to get it out, is if you've got a local realtor that, so that people are like, hey, I'm looking for something,
Right.
instead of sending it to like someone in Cambridge, or I don't know where this place
Sure,
But
is.
it's the
No one's gonna
homeowner,
find
it's the
out.
homeowner that's.
Statewide agency, but my impression from speaking with them is that CHAP is placing it with the listings that they maintain for the affordable housing programs.
Yeah, and
To
that's
make sure
fine,
that
that's
it's
good.
distributed to those
Yeah.
audiences. So like a low-income housing developer that might have a portfolio, they would know that something just came available in the area. But the marketing of it, they made clear that, we're welcome to join in helping to market the property, but I think that's up to us.
Yeah.
If we wanted to additionally, place it with a realtor in the community or something of that nature.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
we
can
could-
do
I
that,
think
though,
we
right?
certainly can.
That would be up to us,
Listing agent.
the
The Towns and Housing
Housing
Authority.
rather than the homeowner that's listing it. for
No,
sale.
they're
We would-
doing
yeah.
their
They're
thing,
doing-
we're
yeah.
doing
We're
extra
yeah.
than what
Yeah,
they're
well,
doing.
that's what I would do.
Like we should post it on the Facebook pages and
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
places so that
Yeah.
people can,
Yeah.
it gets to other people, right?
So is this one still within the window of affordability?
Yes, that's why we
Okay.
want to try to market it now. Do you remember how long they said it was?
I
Pretty
believe,
short.
I want to say it was 180 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I brought the
That's
letter
it, that's
with me,
okay.
but I believe it was 180 from the date that they.
180 to sell and close, or 180 to get under an agreement, or 100.
No, 180 days to retain the housing, the affordability of the housing.
Mhm.
Restricted deed.
Right.
Okay, Yeah,
Anything after that, they can sell at
And
market
after
price.
that, the
Okay.
homeowner is eligible to take it to the market and sell it for 350,000
Yeah.
if they want to.
yeah.
Be on
But I
the
mean,
market.
180 days to get it under agreement? To get it
I
like a
don't know if
signed,
it was.
That's a good
I don't
question.
a
know.
signed purchase and sale,
I
or
think it's a-
180 days
I
to
think
say,
it's
you
a
know what, we
PNS.
closed
It's a
on it.
PNS. There
It's a
has to be an
PNS.
agreement,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
But if we can get it posted to our website, then we can share that link out over other platforms, right?
Mhm.
To the link to our website.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Allison, would you remind me of your email?
I have her card.
Sure, I am at awisenc@townsendmass.gov.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it on there?
And I'll be sure to share the link with everyone once it is posted on the website too.
That would be great. I have a question. This question is really for Allison, I think. Do we have a list of the properties in town that are affordable?
Yes.
Where do we find that list? I guess
In a
Alice, I
secret
wanted.
hallway in the basement on the left.
Allison, do you have it? Could you distribute it to the housing trust?
I do not have that list, but I'm thinking maybe if I reach out to Jody, or it sounds like Courtney might know where it is, I'll locate it and
Yeah,
Sure,
Jody
We have
just
to
did a
update it like
selection.
every year too, so yeah,
Yeah,
Jody will
so-
definitely have it.
So Jody maybe needs to.
And
Clue in
Allison,
also.
that it just popped into my head, in January, we usually get a letter from someone that's asking us to update our housing inventory, so if you could keep your eyes and ears up for that too, I'd appreciate it.
I will do so.
Who normally gets that? I thought it was the Board of Selectmen office in previous
Usually.
years.
If it makes it up here.
Okay.
We didn't see it last year until April
It was late.
or May or something like that.
So where was it sent to?
I cannot confirm or deny. I don't know. It was sent to town hall.
It was sent to town hall and it went into the ether.
Mhm.
Who sends that list? Can Allison contact the person who sends that list in state government to say, hey, I'm the contact? Here is town hall.
It's
I think
Chapo.
it's Chapo.
So a lot of the
So-
emails are going through to, it's like a general inbox for housing at Townsend, Mass. And Jody and I just recently realized they were still going to her, but we've corrected that. So the ones coming through that inbox are going to me directly now.
Good, okay, all right, then you should see that letter,
Hopefully.
this month.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Right, we
Actually,
need to,
Can I ask about, I mean, to derail the agenda too much, but is there a Townsend Housing email for the government, for the town?
Yes, there
And
is.
is it a distribution list or is it like a distinct?
it's an
inbox?
email box. Housing.
Is that something that we can have access to or is there?
It usually goes to the admin. Can we have access to it? Not really. I've tried to get, other people that have it point to like an outside email address, but with our system, it just doesn't work. So you have to have a town email address in order to access that.
Has to be a person.
Yeah.
I think that's better for security.
Yes, much better.
So,
It's 120 days, by the way. But doesn't say what that is specifically to. 120 days plus an option for a 60-day extension.
I wonder how you do the extension.
Yeah, it doesn't say in here, it just is a very general
I
letter.
can follow up with Chapo.
Yeah.
Lastly.
I think if we talk to Chapel, we'd be able to get that done.
You guys are gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one more question on the tracking.
Yep.
Natalie, you're on the bylaw committee?
Yes,
So am I.
Have they met?
yes.
Have they, is there any,
Oh, yours, Veronica.
Next meeting is on Monday,
Yeah.
coming up
okay.
at 4:00.
Yes. Mhm. Yes,
Do we had, outside of the bylaw review committee is what that is, I would assume, right? You're the bylaw review
Yeah,
committee?
so we
Yes.
sent all of our
Yeah,
stuff
you sent
over.
all, yeah, we have
So
all
our
that.
stuff went over there as
Yeah.
well, and did we get copies of what the planning board is doing as well?
I haven't seen it, but
I haven't either. Do you want me to get that?
be nice.
Because I know that they're looking for revisions. They talked about revisions on the affordable housing apartments, affordable accessory apartments. And they had another change for something else that had to do with housing,
Multifamily lots,
something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Definitely.
last meeting was spent mostly on MBTA community.
Mhm.
So anyways, we will move on from that.
So I'll grab those there so that we have a working list of exactly what's being discussed on that. That's-
Yeah, a few of these other items isn't, on the agenda today separately, so.
Yeah, because we had the tax title properties on there. There was just an updated list that I believe the assessors talked with. I think that we can get from if you could grab that from the
What am I
the
grabbing?
assessor's office,
The.
tax title properties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what's happening with Moore Road property?
Yeah, that's a good question. Has
The
anybody
one that
done
was gonna
anything
get
with that?
split, possibly, and part of it sold and part of it maybe for
I
Habitat?
don't think anything's been done with that.
I think the Board of Selectmen had to move on that.
I believe we did.
Did you?
I believe we did. I thought we believed, I think
I
so.
think you should check on
I think I will.
that. Because that would be good to, get rolling. I can talk to Ann Gagnon if need be, of Fish and Wildlife, the properties. They have specific times when their property committee meets to approve specific projects. And so we need to know those deadlines and make sure that if this is in fact what needs to be done. Because we, the Housing Trust, had agreed that we would put the money forward for surveying that property to cut it off, cut off a piece for Fish and Wildlife.
So I don't want to speak out of turn because I can't remember now, but I know we talked about it.
We did, and I believe we voted
Yeah,
to go forward with
That's what I
that.
thought too.
And that's the end of it. So I guess the question is, who's the responsible party?
Who picks it up and goes from there?
Who talks to Habitat for Humanity? Who talks to Fish and Game?
Do we have to get that transferred at all in order for us to be able to move with that, or can we still move on it even though it's not part of?
It's a town property.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not part of the trust property.
Correct.
So our part in it would be more you guys and the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Our part in it would be if it needed to be surveyed to cut off that, where is it being cut? To, if Fish and Game, and they were interested in it because it abuts Hickory Hills Wildlife Management Area. So, we're not talking big bucks here because there's no frontage through that lot, but there's frontage through, the entry to it, adjacent.
If we can get
to it.
any kind of money for it,
Yes.
I think we should. And
I agree. And then it adds it to the town's list of, properties for,
pilot.
pilot.
Yeah.
So, it just gives the town a little bit more every year, not huge dollars, but,
Well, it's money.
yeah.
Pilot is a program that, it's not a program, but the land that is town property but has been given up, we get a portion of money back from
All state-owned
the
properties in
state-owned,
town.
yeah.
The state
So-
pays a pilot to the town.
So it's something. It's not a lot of money, but it is money.
I would like, if we're paying for the survey, we, the Housing Trust, I would like any monies that come from Fish and Game to go back into the Housing Trust initially.
Right, how would we do that? The selectmen would have to vote on that?
Right, and it would probably need a warrant article for the transfer.
So that would need to be prepared for the annual town meeting.
Correct. And it might be one, because the sale is possible, wouldn't happen until, sometime in the fall or whatever, if it were to happen. So the warrant article would have to be written that on sale of this property, the funds are transferred from the general fund into the housing trust. Similar to what you were talking about, Chaz, for the affordable properties.
Madam Chair, I hear my name written all over that one. That's okay.
So yeah, and someone needs to make contact with Habitat for Humanity to see if there is an interest and to get on their list of projects.
Yes,
We had a contact we had talked to not that long ago.
because they were looking for properties.
They were looking for it, yeah.
They came to us
They
and
came
they
to
were
us.
looking, so,
And did you mention this one to them?
I don't think we knew its status at the time.
right.
Well,
We do know.
We do now.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Anything else, guys, on that? I don't think so. I'm not gonna grade out ones though. That's,
Well, they just may be like, oh yeah, those are complete, yeah. Everything else is open.
yeah.
Not waiting for everyone to.
Should we do 2.3?
2.2, well, update from the T.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to 2.2.
that's where we are.
Okay,
All right, so are we ready for that?
yeah.
So I guess the first thing is forestry. We have been in contact, as you know, with the forester who has agreed to
Put forward a plan and.
right, for South Row Road and Wallace Hill.
Good.
And we have a contract that we turned in December, I guess it was,
Early December. Yeah.
to Eric for, we got from Adam, from town council, the contract, we modified it as needed.
Yeah.
And we gave it to Eric, and we don't know the status of that. But
Do
that
you know when
happened.
in December, roughly?
It was after our meeting, and when was our meeting?
December 4th. Yeah, it's near the beginning
It
of
was,
December.
I think it was the 4th of December, was our last meeting. And so it was after that. So it was, it's been the holidays and,
Yeah, I figured wait till after New Year's to.
So does it need to go in front of the BOS?
Well, then all contracts, but it's not, it's a contract between the forester and the housing trust.
Right, so
How?
that's why I'm asking. Is it-
So that's what.
And it's not money that the town is expending, it's money
Right.
that the housing trust is.
Will be receiving.
And according
So
to the
funds-
trust agreement, you guys can enter into that without having to go
Yeah,
for a town
so-
vote or anything else, so.
Yeah, there were a few questions, I think, that Eric had to review, and that was it.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward, so
Yeah,
it might have just been in the pile.
Yeah, but if it passed the town council and it passed, Eric, then I think it's on your shoes, but I'll
well,
call
we
and then
don't know.
yeah,
if it's
I'll
there, so
I'll
we'll
definitely,
check
I
in
can
with
talk to
him.
him tomorrow.
That'd be great.
Look at it.
Yeah, and find out what the status of that is. So, you guys all got this lovely chart that Allison made for us, which is wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you look at our 5-year plan, we had planned, to do South Row Road and or Wallace Hill. We've kind of modified a little bit. You can see the status. South Row Road, we are gonna do the forestry, and same with Wallace Hill. The 3 properties with town water, 4 properties, I guess, are Dudley, South Row, and the 2 Blood Road properties. So they are the ones that make the most sense to develop because they have town water. Wallace Hill has a constraint because there is no town water, and at most you can put 12 units up there, according to the Board of Health, to our Board of Health agent that we met with. So But we're gonna go ahead with the forestry on those two. We,
Forestry on which two?
South Row and
Yeah.
Wallace Hill, so if you look under status, forestry is written there. And that's the contract that we were just talking about for those two properties. And we've already met with the forester, done the walk, you know, got the, it's ready to roll. It might be, you know, next
Might be a
fall
year.
till he can do it now, because we're a little delayed in getting that out. But, there were questions, and those have all been answered. So that's where we are with that, with the forestry piece of it. The Mass Housing Partnership, after attending the Sunderland thing, I think we talked about this in our joint meeting in November. Mass Housing said that Townsend had been removed from their queue because they were not wanted and or needed. And so we've reversed that through the month of December. And so there's a letter here so I'll read you this. This came from Laura Schufelt on December 26th. I hope you're having a happy holiday season. Please excuse my delayed response. I had sent her an email on December 5th saying the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust is interested in community assistance as we go forward with developing affordable housing on the 6 properties the trust owns in the town of Townsend. We are wondering what is needed to obtain that assistance. Please let me know what we can do to have Townsend placed into the queue for assistance. So her response came on December 26th. To provide technical assistance to the trust, I will need a letter or email from the trust requesting technical assistance in a pre-development grant. It can be simple and short, but must be signed by the chair. Electronic signature is fine. I meet regularly with our house doctor engineers, and at our last meeting, we reviewed the GIS mapping from the 6 parcels to evaluate their development potential in anticipation of your formal request. Most of the parcels have some serious development constraints, and they do. The engineers and I agreed the 2 parcels on West Elm Street, those are the Blood Road parcels, have the most potential for development from both site and financial feasibility. I've requested a proposal from the engineers to further explore the site and prepare potential conceptual site layouts. I would like to meet with the trust to discuss their vision for the site and to explain next steps. Please let me know when you meet and if remote participation is available. So I met with Eric on Tuesday. He received this, as did Cindy and Shelley Gehring, who was our contact. Cindy's and my contact with MHP. And so as a result of the meeting with Eric, where is that? I asked Allison to write up a letter to be signed for the agreement. Do we have that? I thought it was in the.
Yeah, it was in there.
I don't think I have a copy of it. Here. Yeah, you can send that. Okay. So this is, dear Ms. Schufelt, we are writing in follow-up to recent email communication to formally request technical assistance. The Townsend Affordable Housing Trust has 6 properties that were transferred to the trust by the town through the development of affordable housing in Townsend. TAHT requests from the Massachusetts Housing Partnership for technical assistance and a pre-development grant to help with providing affordable housing on at least one of these properties. Thank you in advance for your assistance and technical expertise. We are looking forward to partnering with you. Please contact us with any questions. So what I need from the Housing Trust tonight is a motion to forward this letter requesting both technical assistance and a pre-development grant
So moved.
for the properties. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So, Allison, we will need this letter signed by me, and sent to them. Is it okay if I sign it and email it to her, scan it and email it, and then give it to you to US mail, or would you like to do it on Monday? What's the best way to do this?
Any way that's easiest for you, Veronica, works for me. I know she also offered that electronic request was fine. So if you're good signing it and scanning it in and emailing it to me, I can just get it to her electronically.
I will do that. So
Okay.
let me, I'm gonna sign this copy of the letter, whoever it was. Was it yours, Chad?
I got another one, no
Okay, all
problem.
right. I'm gonna do that. I'll scan it to you, tonight. And then if you could send that to her, that would be great.
I will do that.
All right, thank you very much. And, I have invited her if we had a positive response to this. I told, Laura that she could come to our meeting. Our next meeting is January 22nd at 1 PM. There is a Zoom link as well.
Monday,
Monday, the 22nd, and we'll be meeting here. So,
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock, right?
Can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
Is this exclusively assistance for the Affordable Housing Trust? Are we not eligible to
You're welcome to attend,
attend? Okay.
but we're the ones that are looking at how to develop the properties.
I think your question is in the future if we also need help from them, right? Like if we also need to write a letter.
Oh, well,
Is that what you're saying?
that's another really good point, but I actually didn't mean for this
Okay.
in particular. I just thought of wanting to understand moving pieces. I'm pretty interested, but
Yeah, I think that pretty much the 6 properties are the trust properties.
Mhm.
So we, well, I can talk more about this. We've talked to other towns as well in December. So we go with the development, and then you guys would be the ones that see that it's maintained or once the development is in play. So, and that was what we talked with town council about last March as well.
Yeah.
So what's the role of PHA? What's the role of the trust? And where is the intersection? So, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once the property goes over to the Affordable Housing Trust, they're the ones that are basically taking the ball and running with it. We're on the sidelines with the pom-poms going, go
Well,
for it.
if they have clients that will receive housing vouchers or that will move into them under some sort of.
That's
That's
ours.
You need us to
That
be
would be you
administering
guys.
programming that
That's exactly right. Yeah.
sends clients in the direction of
Exactly.
those units.
So I asked a series of questions of people from other towns who are involved in housing. And my first question was, in developing affordable housing in your town, did you do a feasibility study? And if you did, who did you use? Did you fund this with a grant? And if so, what grant? Unanimously, it was the feasibility study is the housing production plan. That's the feasibility study, and no further feasibility study is required. Then the next one was, because we had thought we should meet with developers to see who does what. Should we meet with developers prior to the RFP process to see what kind of housing they've done, and if so, who? Okay, unanimously, don't meet with developers. Puts the hand on the scale. You want the best deal you can get for the community. There was also a suggestion about ownership of property. Consider a 99-year ground lease. I just wrote these notes down as I talked. What these all mean, we'll find out, but that's what they said. Okay, how do you fund the writing of an RFP? Is it with a grant? If so, what grant? They said that we should do an RFQ first, a request for qualifications,
Mhm.
and that the town administrator should be able to write the RFQ. Dunstable hired a consultant to do the RFP after the RFQ process. So the RFQ kind of tells you who the developers
Yep.
are, that sort of thing. and
Does
is
it, the
interested.
town administrator or the procurement officer of the town?
It's the chief procurement officer,
Okay.
which is typically the town administrator.
Correct.
Not always, but
There's a
typically.
reason why I asked to talk later about that.
Okay. Dunstable hired a consultant to do the RFP and walk through the whole process with them.
Mhm.
They said it cost about 35,000. And, these are names that came up. Jennifer Goldstein, isn't that who did the housing
Yes.
production
Yep.
plan?
Yep.
And then Metro West Community Development
Oh, okay.
were the two that most of these other towns used. By the way, most of these towns have CPA. Just know that. They suggested that we go to town meeting for funding for the RFP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to go for a grant for that.
I agree. with that.
Although MHP will review RFPs if we were to write one ourselves.
They would review and critique or,
Yes,
Okay.
yes, but that it would be, that to fund almost exclusively, they went to town meeting for the funding.
Yeah.
And they all have CPA. So, okay, other things. They cautioned, we had thought when we talked that we would do all three properties, meaning South Row, Wallace Hill, and Dudley, all at one time. They said, no, do not do that. They said, you haven't done this, get one property and do it and get your feet
get your
wet.
feet wet.
Work
Yeah.
through the
yeah.
process, see what the process is. And with our vote, it's gonna be the Blood Road properties because they have no environmental constraints and it has townwide.
Yep.
So it changes our 5-year plan a little bit, but we can make those updates when we do our budget
Right.
for the fall. They said, this, developing housing is about risk. What we want to do is to remove as much risk as we can before the RFP.
Mhm.
That means have perk tests done.
Mhm.
The Board of Health may have ideas on when to do the perk test, meaning time of year.
Mhm.
So you don't just want to say, oh, we're going to do perk tests now, that we should be talking to everybody. I wrote this down when someone said roads, use cost estimator. I don't know what that means
So,
exactly. but-
roads,
Yeah.
ROH, they're an actual they cost estimate, that's all they do. So like what we use places like that when we want to get a number that's not committing to a contractor ahead of time, right? So
Yeah.
that's all they do is estimate. They're usually high on the
Okay,
estimates.
So if you want to get a ballpark figure of what it's
But
going
they're-
to cost, they'll
Yeah,
throw.
they're doing that conservatively, right, to be
Yeah.
high.
Yes.
okay.
And the one
Yeah.
thing I've heard is when using a cost estimator, and I just heard some feedback about it recently, is to make sure it ties back to the budget. So to make sure it really ties out very evenly.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay, so there's that. Have the wetland delineation and perk tests done. You would use a civil engineering firm and it costs about 25K. They also suggested having a phase 1 environmental assessment done,
Good.
and that would be an additional 5 to 10K.
Yeah.
Use a reputable engineering firm, and they threw out Meridian, Weston and Sampson, talk to the Conservation Commission and find out who to do that.
Now, wouldn't DLTA grants be part of that too? Because we got DLTA grants for stuff for Dudley when we were doing,
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the town's thinking of for DLT grants for this year. They're usually due right around now.
Mhm.
I mean, the proposal should come out in January.
Right,
And we always have to put in for February and usually by the end of January, actually.
yeah,
So anyway.
I'll keep my eyes and ears open.
So, yeah,
Okay.
whatever. I would like, okay, talking DLTA grants. as former chair of the Board of Selectmen, I would like to have the one that we put in that was rejected last year, that was the joint one between Groton, Pepperell, and Townsend to examine the corridor
Yes,
from Route 113 up through the harbor for futures. How do we want that to look? You know, how do you avoid having 60 million curb cuts? How is it zoned? What happens at the Haynes Road intersection?
and then to put it on the
And
tips
at
after
one
that.
13, because they
Yep.
will, and we did have support from all three towns. And,
Do you remember why we didn't get that for some reason?
it was, I think, they just thought it was too much and we had enough DLTA grants. And it meant that MRPC had to work with, who is it that Lowell's part of? The Pepperell. Pepperell isn't part of MRPC.
Yes,
So there, I always forget what it's called.
that other one over there.
That other one over there.
That's the name
It's
that I
like
can remember.
Merrimack something or other, or, you know, it's a different planning. They're in a different planning region than Groton and Townsend. So the two planning agencies have to work. It's a much more involved DLTA grant. Maybe Pepperell has to request it at the same time
So it's a
from
tri,
their planning.
so it's a
agency.
tri-town agreement that we did.
Yes.
All right, so let me pull the mothballs off of that.
I think that's critical, that's me, but for the future of all three towns, really. And that intersection.
Well, we've been trying to attack that for 3 years now.
Yes, yes, and everything has been, you know, and the fact that in
How about
some
sidewalks?
places-
How about this? How about that?
In some places it's a town road, and in some places it's a state road, so it gets really dicey.
So it needs to be,
It's not
needs to be surveyed so we know exactly what it is. But I'll look into that too.
So it might mean that DLTA grants have to be requested at both agencies to make that happen. So, anyway, okay, where am I? So anyway, with this, we're leaning towards Flood Road, and Allison put this in on the status as a new focus. And we're gonna have to go into our 5-year plan and do some updates on this. But, anyway. So that would be for the future. I think that's really all I had. Do you guys have anything?
Well, that's some good stuff though.
I think we should still start, you know, we'll see what MHP says to us, but still consider South Row and keep that in mind, you know, for what we're doing, but get the forestry done first.
We're talking like 65K for a parcel, right? Between civil, all the RFP, the RFP, like all the parts and pieces, right?
Yes, but if we have a pre-development grant from
Yeah.
MHP,
Yeah.
that might help out.
Yeah.
Which would give us more to do South Row Road.
Yeah.
So, and in doing that process, we might have a better idea of where to approach and how to move forward there and get that in as our second, you know, project.
I think the sound advice that I hear is doing just one, seeing what the process is and then being able to
Move forward,
mimic that for each one.
anyway. So a little bit of shift in focus, but it's a good shift.
Still moving forward.
So, and it's, I think we would really like to have a project on the books by come June, or, you know that we're moving forward
Yeah.
with that. So then you feel like you're doing something.
Yeah.
So. Anyway. Okay, I'm on my. Is that our next thing?
Yeah.
All right, so, I know that we have in our 5-year plan to support CPA, and I think we all individually do that. But, but to have the housing trust be the driving force is, has been shown to be not the best approach. So,
Sorry.
so anyway, there is a group of citizens in town that are gonna be stepping forward with that. When we talked with, the, CPA folks, they suggested that, because it's failed so many times in Townsend at town meeting, that the other way to, accept it is to have a petition and petition it onto a ballot. And the ballot that makes the most sense to petition it onto is the election, the presidential election ballot. So that's the approach that's being considered by the folks that have picked it up, and I'm sure the town will be hearing more about it over the summer.
And it may be going on to this town meeting even so, this next town meeting in the spring.
There's nothing lost by doing that, but,
I'm gonna push it back onto in the spring. I mean, it shouldn't be, it's something that we need. And I see absolutely no reason why every time we have a town meeting that's not an article. We can put it on as many times as we want for an article.
Yeah, it'd be informational.
Yeah.
There's a petition on a ballot, it's a paragraph, why this is a good idea, why this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a lot better to have it discussed openly at town meeting.
Exactly.
but there is an
Are
alternative.
the folks that are working on it, are they preparing like a presentation or something?
The CPA folks will come out
Yeah.
and do a presentation. And at least when I talked to them prior to August, the time that made the most sense was to do it if we were petitioning in the fall, before the November vote. If we're doing a town meeting warrant article, which I'm not going to be leading, we can, you can contact them again and see if they want to come out in April to do something. But that's coming up. It's short time. So,
Yeah, I just think it's a pretty abstract notion that, having somebody just kind of give you a good overview of what it's about and why it's being voted on is maybe a healthy thing.
Well, we've gone through how many cycles have we done this? 2 or 3 times in the past 3-4 years?
not in the past 3 or 4 years. In the past, from about 2004, 2005, it's been on town meeting ballot 3 times.
Okay.
The first time we've discussed it over the course of the past 3 years, but we didn't put it on the warrant until this past spring. The other 2 negative votes happened earlier in the history of the town.
And the last vote, as far as I see it, this is my opinion, the last vote it was pretty close. So I'm thinking just to put it on there for the sake of putting it on there.
That is entirely up to the Board of Selectmen.
And that's what I'm going to put my best foot forward.
Yeah, I think it definitely needs some kind of education campaign so that people understand what's happening, because at the last town meeting, like everything else in our world, there was just so much misinformation that got thrown around. People don't understand it. And so that's,
As I
Even
would
though we
say
had
in my
that
professional
eliminated.
position, there was a lot of dissonance that night. Yes, I agree.
Anyway.
The fact still remains is that what we all do here is really crucial to get that passed. I mean, that's the lifeblood, that's going to be the lifeblood of the Affordable Housing Trust. And
yeah.
I personally will put my best foot forward to keep it going. Dudley Road, as in the Housing Authority, I've been in Housing Authority for, seems like forever, since the turn of the century. We needed to do something with Dudley Road. We got turned down every single time. that we did something to it, but we still did it. So I am gonna put my best foot forward to get CPA on this next ballot. It's already written, it's been already approved, and I'm just gonna put it in front of the Board of Selectmen.
Can you do ballot and petition? Like
Oh,
say,
you can, like if the ballot
Yeah.
vote doesn't, you can still go
You can still go
forward with the petition.
Yeah, then go
It
for
just
it.
has to be by the time the ballot, the petition has to be with enough time
Right.
to get it on as a ballot question.
Correct.
On the
Yeah,
Right,
president.
so what I'm saying is that the citizens petition, they can continue on focusing on getting it on the ballot. We can put it on there again. I mean, maybe people will get kind of tired of hearing us talk about it and just vote for it, you know?
It's the fact that we don't get, a representative sample of the town of Townsend,
Right.
town meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we barely get 75 people.
Mhm.
That's the bit, and that's why people will come out to vote for a presidential election.
Yeah.
And that's why that's a good, ballot to put it on.
Yep. If they can focus on doing the ballot, we'll still put it on there, because it'll still get the information out in front of people, for that, and the town will have their opportunity to, argue or pontificate, however you wanna say. And, you know, if it goes on the ballot, I agree, I think it'll pass if it goes on the ballot.
So it is how most of the other towns, do. Groton, Stowe, Harvard, Dunstable, all of, I think even Sunderland use CPA money.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, for what they did, the development we went and looked at.
Yeah.
There,
We did
Or
Veterans
they have
Inc. and they
included-
used CPA for that when we did that.
Yeah.
That
Which
whole
one?
thing. This- where was
No,
that,
South
Hadley?
Carolina.
Where was that?
What, Avon?
No, when we
Was
did the veterans one. There were two veterans places that we
Okay,
looked
I
at.
remember one. I remember
Veterans
one
Homestead,
more
maybe?
Ronnie, who sent
Yeah.
us that list of all the
It
benefits?
Veterans Homestead in the garden.
Remember there was an
Yeah, I think it
anecdotal
was
list of
Garden.
benefits?
Yeah.
Was it Groton?
no, that
Not
came from the
Groton.
CPA.
Or Embark.
Or
Because
maybe it was, no, it was Dunstable.
It was Dunstable.
It was Dunstable,
Because
I know what you're talking about,
Hopefully
yeah.
that can be shared with the folks that are writing a petition,
Mhm.
because it was pretty powerful.
All the things that they've done with their CPA money, because it's not only housing, it's also historical
Yes.
preservation.
Mhm.
It's for, parks.
Mhm. It can be
that.
for the rail trail here, it can be
It could be for the
the
playground.
addition of the playground. There's so much that we could use that.
They need
Renovation
new
of some town
equipment.
buildings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Seems
So,
like very clear though, like benefits and examples of like what
Yeah.
people would pay on their taxes, like very short, clear, precise,
Yeah.
like marketing of it
$7
too.
That's the biggest
88 cents.
misconception.
Yeah, and then if
Oh
you
my
end up
gosh,
with
my
a,
taxes are
with
gonna
a,
soar.
yeah, if you end up with a whole
Seven-
sheet to read, nobody's
$7
gonna read
and
it, right? So,
88 cents a month for the average.
right, but that's what people
Homeowner
aren't
in
getting,
town,
right?
yeah.
Somehow they're not getting that information, but they're not
well, they're
absorbing it.
getting one or two people that are standing up in the town meeting and,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's, I mean, I understand that we all can have our opinion on things, but the opinion needs to match exactly what we're talking about. And
Yeah.
the information that was being shared on both of the ones that I was involved in was, it wasn't the right information.
Yeah.
You know, your taxes aren't going up $400, you know, and that's
Yeah.
what was talked about.
Yeah.
I think the average
And that
home
was
was
talked
what,
about by-
$20 a person or something?
by people not in the know.
Yeah.
The information
Yeah.
that was put out was the correct information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The people that were just talking out of their mouth,
Yeah.
had the incorrect information.
yeah, and
So-
majorly so. You know, the other thing, one of the advantages, sometimes it's a disadvantage because our numbers are all done because we're in Middlesex County, so we're lumped in with like Belmont and Newton and, all these places, and it's like, wow.
Which is
well,
actually good for some people. 'Cause
well,
Yes.
under the CPA, if you're 60 or older and you're making under $112,000 a year,
you
you're
qualify.
exempt.
Yeah.
You don't pay anything.
Yeah.
If you're a family of four, if you're, And you're making, you know, I mean, these were things, so the people that stood up and talked about how they're not gonna be able to sell their houses, and they're not gonna be able to eat food, and they can't go grocery shopping, and, I mean, it was really. I know, it was pretty bad, I was like, oh no, this
We
is.
see the catastrophe that unfolded in Dunstable after they got theirs, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's the other thing too, because that people say, you know, it's the wealthy communities, because, yeah, they jumped on board, because they saw
They
a way to
understood
make
it
some
was a
money.
spot.
So the
Sponsor.
town's not, Pepperell is a CPA, Shirley is a CPA community. This isn't, you know, I mean, Townsend should be a CPA community.
It's, you've got free money, you just need to go up and ask for it. Please let us go up and ask for it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Well said.
Well, you do have to kind of a little bit of a match.
It's a match.
I mean,
yeah,
because you
yeah.
do have to
Well-
put something in.
Right, but what you're getting out of it is so much more than what you're putting into it.
And the
Yeah.
threshold for those who are exempt from it is really generous.
Yeah.
Does anybody know, anyone in the room here know, does the match have to be new funds, or are we allowed to use funds that are already being spent and classify that in a way that
It's new
is considered
funds.
match?
You cannot do
So
the
we have to
second.
raise it, right, through taxes.
It's not part of the tax rate. It doesn't get wrapped into the tax rate. It's a surcharge, so to speak. So it's separate from the tax rate. It's a surcharge is the best way to do it.
It's a separate line item.
Yeah, it's a separate line item. And I'm looking here, because I'm the one that took the info and wrote it all last year. Where would it have been?
The bonuses on it, for instance, I know that the Historic District Commission was looking into, talking about getting signs that say you're entering a historic district. I don't know if you guys see that in other towns that you've gone to. I think that's a wonderful idea, but they need money for stuff like that. And CPA could pay for stuff like that. You know, those are the smaller things that we as a community, we don't really have a lot of money to do those extemporaneous funding. But the CPA would be able to take care of it. A lot of the little things that we need, you know, that we should have.
And you don't, there's no time limit on it.
Yeah.
No one's gonna say, oh wait, you didn't spend that money, or you
Yeah.
can save it. You can say, you know what, let's take 100,000 of this and bank it over 5 years so that we can work on project X. You
Or
know?
purchasing,
Um,
being able to purchase the homes that are affordable in order to keep them affordable.
Yeah,
Here are the limits. This was last spring. I don't know if it's changed this fiscal year, but for, this is for what are the income limits that qualify for exemption? If you are a senior, 60 or older, with a household size of one, it's $98,140, your income for the year.
yeah, income, not assets, income.
Right.
So,
For two, it's 112,000. I mean, these are generous. Most people in town will qualify for exemption.
With what our
That's the
demographics are right
senior,
now,
yeah,
absolutely.
For a non-senior, it's lower. You know, in other words, for people that are not senior citizens, a household of one is 78,000.
Mhm.
Of two is 89,000. Of three is 100,000, and of four is 112,000.
Which is,
So,
so it just makes so much sense.
yeah.
And-
And everyone pays in anyways.
Mhm.
We're already paying into it. Anytime you know, yeah,
Good point.
yeah.
And all the other
So-
And
towns
getting
are
no benefit.
benefiting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're getting the money, and we sit here
Right.
saying, oh, you know, we couldn't possibly manage this.
How did they get a new outfit? and We didn't.
So I think too, on the website from the state, no, Groton did jump in at the beginning in 2004. They became a CPA community. Since 2004, they've made over $16 million.
wow.
And they have collected over $16 million
It's
in
the
CPA
collection
funds.
with the match.
With the match.
That would be a great talking point before the,
Yeah, we thought
The
it
town
was
meeting.
too. We did it a couple of times.
Yeah, and, yeah.
So,
We digress.
We do digress. Okay, so that's CPA. So that's where we stand with all that. All right, grant discussion. Oh, that's fine. CDBG or mass housing. I think that was probably put it on there, Allison, that was probably me, and it was probably for an RFP. That's the way we were, how do we fund an RFP? So since we put this agenda together, I think this is not to say not to discuss CDBG, but not for the RFP process. I think that's something that we'll probably go to town meeting for funding for, or mass housing partnership, since we are gonna be working with them, so.
I mean, I think what I like about them is they, it seemed like it's actually kind of perfect, like their program, the way they laid it out.
CDBG, you mean?
No, the MHP one,
The MHP one.
yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. We'll start working with them and see where that goes. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't apply for CDBG funds for housing rehab in town. The things that we had it
I think
for
that's the
before.
challenging.
Right, I actually had a conversation with the town administrator today in regards to that. We didn't get it the last time for a reason, I can't remember what he told me now. We didn't,
When did we last apply? We didn't apply while I was on the select board.
we were looking at it, we didn't, I don't
We
think we
didn't
applied.
apply.
And there was a reason for it, and I can't remember, because we still had
We had it open. We
the
still
other
had it
one.
open.
We had
right.
the other one,
Yeah,
yes.
that just got closed out last fall, so a year ago. Maybe even later than that. So it might have been January.
The final letter we just got the final letter. that
Right,
it's
so it
closed and
was,
done.
I was still a selectman. It was still open and not closed out.
Yeah, yes.
So that is more than likely why.
Yes.
um,
So I
we
guess
couldn't
my
apply.
point is that we collectively, I think we should do what we can to get another one, because there's, housing rehab, there's fuel assistance,
Mhm.
and, there's money
You can
that,
do like historic preservation or revitalization of a downtown area.
that's exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah, so I think that would be,
Our focus would be where you had talked about earlier, with the 113 in the harbor area, because of the new, where the rail trail's gonna go through there. So there's a couple of sidewalks and that kind of stuff that need to be on the other side that need to be worked.
so,
Excuse me. I was just telling him there was no, we had a second meeting supposedly to go to.
Well, this plays right into it. I mean, exactly what Chas just said.
Yeah.
Just the historic,
oh, is that
you
tonight?
know,
No,
we think
it's
it
not.
is.
We thought it was in both of our calendars, and apparently it doesn't exist, so.
But I think,
Okay.
I think I'll bring up this CDBG to them when we do meet with them.
I think the town has to apply for that. I don't think.
Yeah, the town has to apply for it, but I think the problems that we had in the past is the managing of it, and that's something that needs to be discussed fully.
Right,
We need somebody that's gonna help us manage it. Yeah. Challenge.
okay, so I just want to talk about 130, just say 113 to the, I think the high school main entrance should change to Proctor Road.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the whole,
So we will.
I go up Proctor Road all the time to get to Meadow, but I just think that, I'm just looking at the busyness and the entry to businesses, et cetera, and at certain times of day, and there were several down at Hain, or Proctor or whatever, not Haines, Proctor. Anyway, I'm just saying that, just throwing that out there.
I find myself, I come out of Hannaford and I'm like, I really should be taking a left, but I'm like, you know what, I give up, I'm gonna go right, and then
I do
I,
that
and I
all
go
the
up
time.
Georgia Road because.
Yeah.
I want to go
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna follow traffic.
I
Yeah, I
do
do
that
it all
to
the
get to the
time.
library from, if I'm
Oh,
at,
if you're,
Yeah.
Harbor
Mhm.
Village, I go to the right, I go up the hill and down
wow,
Highland.
yeah,
Or you go to Spalding and come back and hit the light,
yeah,
you know,
to let you out, it's
it's a little
treacherous.
bit crazy,
It's
yeah,
treacherous down there.
depending on the time of day.
Yeah,
So, and it's school,
the Friday night football game.
Friday night football.
And it's dark,
Yeah.
that's a fun time
Yeah,
too.
so anyway,
Um,
okay, that's not on the agenda.
I'll tell you, the way they put a nice little rotary up on
Can I-
31.
On
At the
31,
top of
yeah.
Wheeler Road.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Can I just ask before we move completely on from the CDBG versus mass housing, I think I remember Allison sending around a note about the mass housing, planning for housing production grant.
Mhm.
And there was a piece of that that I actually was interested in, or I guess I'd imagined that part of that would cover the housing authority administrative process. So like, there's a fair amount of work involved if you're going to be doing work as a housing authority, administering programming. You need to make sure inspections are completed. You need to apply for NOFAs
Mhm.
annually. You need to maintain a contract with HUD, make sure housing assistance payments are distributed properly. So that's not trivial work. And I didn't know for sure, but if any of the mass housing planning grant covers that.
I didn't see it in there when I read it, but I could be, maybe they have something
Okay.
else that did it. It just seemed to me like when I read it, it was really about the, like pre-development activities for a site.
Right.
Um, but maybe they have
That-
something else that
So
could cover
The
that.
managing of
That's interesting.
properties and all of that is a whole different piece.
Yep.
And I know that most towns use an agency for that.
Well, the Mass Housing Partnership has because I went with Karen Chapman a couple of times. In the summertime, they have
Right.
a 2-day, was it 2 days?
Yeah, something like that.
They have one part that actually deals with the Affordable Housing Trust, and they have other parts that deal with these other pieces of,
So I think if
This is
we're,
at Devon.
if we're on,
Yes.
if we're ramping up like an inventory, then we need to be prepared to fill it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I just want to be sure we're as ready as
That's
possible.
exactly what we need to be doing. We
Yeah.
need to find some kind, A, we need to find out what our responsibility is, and B, we need to make sure that there's a process in place. So absolutely. Mass housing, well, can I go a little in history? Mass Housing Partnership, when I went with Karen Chapman, I don't even know how long ago this was.
It was
Probably
probably
like
4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
It was before the pandemic. They've been doing things Zoom
Yeah.
for the past
No, this was
few years.
well, this could even be 8 years ago.
Mhm.
And in 8 years, at that time when I went with Karen, it was, you really need an affordable housing trust. You really need affordable housing trust. And that
Right.
was our focus on the THAs to get this going. I remember going to a couple of, they had affordable housing trust and housing authority groups. They split us up on 2 sides, and they actually went through the whole process. Okay, this is what your function is, this is what your function is, and this is how you communicate back and forth. And I remember this was such a long time ago, and I was like, oh, that's great. Now I see what we're doing today, and that's exactly what they're talking about, is that how we need to work together, to be able to provide the town what they need. Having said that, and the reason why I brought this up was, I think we all need to look at their next housing production, or their housing, the mass housing thing over at Devon's, to be able to find out what they're gonna be teaching in their seminar things, so that we need to join, to get over there
Yeah,
to do
that's
that.
in June. And Cindy attended.
Yeah,
I was supposed to, and I wound up I don't know, in Ohio or something,
Oh,
but
that's
anyway,
Yeah.
there, so, yeah, we did go
Yeah.
last year, and
And
they,
it is lots of information.
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
lots of information.
And you're
they-
with other people that know what you're looking at, so that we might be able to get some valuable contacts or new employees, however we want to look at it, to be able to help us out on our end of it, so.
And someone told me that there is an excellent, but it's from the MHP presentation from the conference many years ago. How do you put in wastewater treatment for affordable housing development?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about I was talking to, remember, about the Wallace Hill property and the fact that we were constrained.
Right.
And they said, oh, no, it can be done, it can be done. Anyway.
And the grant money for these things too, they're like, oh, no, they make it sound like it's like, okay, you come out feeling very like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can do this, but they're also.
And then we went to town meeting.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, but that's what I think. I think they're very willing to help and provide services. That's why they're there. The state hired them and said, look, help these communities, do this. So I think it's there. We just have to find it and figure it out, But you are right. It is a big job. Then once you have to manage,
The managing.
managing
And so
everything.
the question, there are organizations that do provide the management. I
Mhm.
know in the Pioneer Valley, they have a nonprofit
Yeah,
that does it there. That's what we saw at Sunderland. It's not done by the towns because it becomes a big deal.
Yes.
Most towns
Yeah.
can't afford
Well, we had,
or have the infrastructure or the
our cap
organization.
solutions that we have, or that we worked with,
Mhm.
is one of those companies that come in and do that. But I just think our meaning the town's planning on those particular facilities out on Dudley Road were not quite, I mean, we didn't
And-
have any piece of it.
And rules changed. I think the town did have for
Yeah.
the first X number of years, and then it changed.
They
And-
voted out and they changed the way, the direction of everything.
And it's in how you write your RFP and get the, how you have to be careful about how you set things up.
Yep.
So that you set them up, the way you want them to be.
Correct.
But I know even in Sunderland, I think it was the first 80%, they did a lottery. First 80%, in the first lottery, 80% of the units had to go to town residents.
Correct.
But after that, that's no longer the case. So when those units are relinquished, it's not the case anymore. Because you have that list of people that need the housing.
Mhm.
So, anyway, so they could maintain.
But in
the
the,
first
in
X
the
number of
grand
years.
scheme of things, you could say that's, if you only had it for towns and residents, it could be viewed as discriminatory.
Right.
So you have to be very careful.
So anyway, but you can for the first round.
Yeah.
Do that, and it would be fine. So,
So we do have our work cut out for us.
And I think the NARO group
Mhm.
is probably a good opportunity to get some learning too, for these other housing authorities.
We did get that off,
Mhm.
right? We did get that.
Yeah. I mean, we're members of that now.
Is there
I'll-
is there like a login?
I will have to look, I'll have to look at it again. I'll get with Allison on that. I'll look at it again. Let's see, it must be.
so on the 2.4 CDBG, explore that for the town for the next round or so, correct?
So the next round in applications are due in mid-March. I know a couple months ago, I did put together kind of like a brief document of what was needed at a very high level to prepare for that. If it's something you guys want me to help you with, just let me know.
Can you send me that, Allison?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be meeting with the town administrator about some future stuff, and I'd like to have that with me for that meeting.
I will send that to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any correspondence? Allison? Any correspondence?
No.
Okay.
That's three, so we're done with that.
We're
Okay.
done with that. Okay.
All right, can we look at the meeting dates,
Yes.
specifically the April 4th one?
Kevin and I will be out of town.
So will I.
Okay.
So if we could go to next week, will you guys do that?
Nope. We'll be back on the 12th
Oh,
of April.
So you want to do the 18th?
Is that school vacation week? I'm okay with that, but is that school vacation week and I don't know if
It
that,
usually is.
yeah, and I don't know if that
usually
makes a
is, but
difference to
I don't-
anybody.
doesn't
No.
matter to me.
Those days are long gone.
Exactly.
April
It's like, fine with me.
okay.
So I guess that's a yes, right?
No, Thursday, Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah, April.
I've
So
been out of,
what-
I've been
what's
out of
the
school
date
a
on
long
April
time.
18th?
April
Yeah.
18th.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright,
And the October 4th one, that's a Friday.
it's a Friday?
Yeah,
This is the first Thursday.
that's why I was confused.
Yeah, it's the third, it's the third,
So it's the
So we
third.
change
Yeah.
it to the 3rd.
yeah.
I don't know about July. Yeah, but I think we're gone.
No, July, oh,
I think that's the week we're.
July?
4th of July,
Oh, no, oh, it's August. Oh, no. July's fine.
okay, so we're good?
So do you want to, between the two, do we want any marching orders for anything that you would want to see from the Housing Authority for April's 18th meeting, or vice versa?
At this point, no.
No? Okay.
But,
Well, the CPA status, we probably want to.
yeah,
I know, you know what, just to go back to that, probably because I spent a little time on it too. Do you think someone should reach out to this other group and just see what they're doing, or,
I can and report back if you want.
okay, because maybe, yeah, okay, that would be good, I
Right,
think.
it was
Yeah,
the
just see
folks
if
that
we can
are
provide any.
organizing the CPA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe kind of.
Just letting everybody know what the planning is.
Yeah, do you think? I mean,
If
do you
we-
think
if
that's
we
a
can
good
help.
idea and what, and
Yeah.
find out, because, are they gonna do informational meetings? What their plan is, so that, because I think there should be something before it gets out there again.
I can find out and I can give it to you and
Okay.
and what am I doing with it?
let your people know.
Let your people
Let
know.
That sounds good.
Do we have something scheduled after the 18th of April? Or not?
July 11th?
July 11th, okay.
So it's April 18th, July 11th, and October 3rd.
I
Almost.
just wanted to make sure I heard you guys right. April 18th, July 11th, October 3rd.
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right,
For
thank
the
you.
joint meeting.
Joint.
If that's school vacation week, is that okay with you, Allison?
It should be fine.
Okay, all right.
And these are all at 6 PM.
Yeah.
It's Rosh Hashanah Day, October 3rd.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, just so you know.
All right. And then those other meeting dates
I get to
hold.
say Happy New Year again.
Alrighty. So THA is January 11th and then January 22nd.
Yeah, we're
All right.
January 22nd at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys know.
Next
if
week.
Laura Schufel is able to attend,
Okay.
in case you guys can zoom in or whatever, if
Unless
you're
we need to-
interested. If not, it'll be recorded, because you can always watch after
We have been
that.
doing 6, but we
Yeah,
have
I'm gonna try to attend.
That's all right.
Yeah, you can.
I'm
Yeah,
happy to
I'm
get
gonna
out
try to
early.
attend.
It'll be
My
right
stomach's
here.
happy.
Yeah. I should be able to do that. That way, okay. Do we have any other announcements?
So where we're meeting on the
We're
11th.
meeting on the 11th at 6 PM, yes. Yep. THM.
Can I sneak in one more annoying
By all
question?
means, go ahead.
on housing
Of
authority
course, go
business
ahead,
before we
by
go?
all means.
So I've just been, I'm still relatively new to this, I'm sort of orienting myself to what we already have, but one of the key details in relationship with HUD is an annual contributions contract. Do we have one?
Not that I know.
No, I don't think we do.
Okay, do we have an IDIS number?
No,
Okay, so we're not under contract currently with HUD for anything.
no,
Okay,
no, that's a good point, actually.
so, well, I think part of the orienting to becoming an administrator of the vouchers, that's like step one.
Step one, it
So,
is.
But, yeah, if,
Mhm.
You know what? Let's you and I talk, because we might be able to either talk with Eric or we can work on that.
okay.
I think we should
I
work
thi-
on
I
that.
think it might
Let's-
actually be the same HUD agent as the COC.
Let's talk about it on the
It's same
11th.
officer.
Let's talk about it on the 11th, and then we can get direction, we'll all vote on it, and then
Okay.
we'll get a plan of action.
All right, so do you want to close your meeting
Yes.
first, or should I close mine?
I need a motion for Townsend Housing Authority. I need a motion to adjourn.
You got it?
After you-
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:30.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor, roll call of officers for Townsend Housing. I have Natalie Cole, yes.
Jack Moran, yes?
Courtney Bell, yes.
Just Sexton-Duranian, yes.
Okay, we're good on that.
All right,
So yours.
TAHT, is there a motion to close the meeting at 7:32?
I move to close the meeting at 7:32.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.